On today's episode of the Warne's Way podcast, I'm joined by the owner of the Australian Poker Tour and AKA the Hashelinko. Welcome to the Warne's Way podcast, Mr. Tony Hachem.
Thanks, Jackson. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. How are you going?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. We just finished the Adelaide series, which you were there.
Yep.
Great success.
Yep. How's all the feedback from it?
Feedback's been fantastic. The series is getting stronger and stronger. And as you know, our goal is to have APT as a premium poker tour in Australia.
Yep. And I reckon that's what you'll get there because you've got, and it's what Dad always used to say, is you've got the name. The Australian Poker Tour. That's something no one can take away from you. But even more than that, you're now the one steering the ship. You've got all the resources, the network, the database, the players, and you could see after the Aussie Millions, especially in Melbourne, there is a massive demand, especially for us poker players, to want to play. So I'm sure you'll get the hash.
No, thanks, Jackson. Kind words. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of challenges. But look, talent is not enough. You know, you need to get in there and ensure that you give players a great experience and especially the environment that we play tournament poker in. I think, changing perception of the way poker has been perceived, definitely not gambling.
Well, that's one thing you've been very vocal on, and it's explaining to people that tournament poker and the structure of tournament poker is a mind sport. It's a sport for the mind. It's not necessarily all about gambling or luck. How to the person that doesn't understand that, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say that any type of competition is either gaming, whether it's a game or whether it's a sport. The International Mind Sports Association has finally deemed poker in general as a mind sport, whether it's tournament poker or cash games. The Australian Poker Tour and the Hachem Management Group have got exclusivity to run with that in Australia, and in order to help change mindset of government, in order to implement, tournament poker as a sport.
Yep.
Or at least a game. It's definitely not gambling because when you're playing for a large prize pool, the house isn't taking the money.
And it's over an extended period of time too. Sometimes it's 10 to 12 hours a day over 3, 4, 5 days. WSOP is nearly 10 days.
Yeah, and look, the tournaments that we run at APT, there's one-day events, there's 3-day events. We're looking at, and also the number of flights that players can qualify at. And there's also satellites, what we call in tournament poker, ways of entering into a main event where you got to qualify through. So it's a bit like tennis. You got to play when the amateurs are coming through the ranks. They got to get through, a numbering system, yep. And once they get to a certain number, then they're playing, with the professionals in that sport.
Yep. And if I'm right in saying, if let's say we go 5 or 10 years into the future and everyone is aware that poker is a mind sport, could that mean in theory it could be in the Olympics?
Oh, definitely.
Imagine
definitely.
if you are playing for Australia in the Olympics and you get a gold medal playing poker. How cool would that be?
Look, it's something that's, especially with esports, I think an esport type gameplay, whether it's a timed event or traditional poker, I can't say why not. The World Series of Poker, it's the mecca of poker. Everybody drops everything from May to mid-July, end of May to mid-July, to compete against the best in the world.
Yep.
And they get huge numbers. But as far as the Olympics goes, it'd be amazing to go to the Olympics.
How cool would it be if all the people that like yourself and that we play poker with, we're all just going over to a country to play for Australia? I mean, I wouldn't be the one getting picked. There'd be people in line before me, but, it'd be a cool fantasy or a goal to have eventually if it did become, a sport in the Olympics to say you played for Australia.
Mate, I tell you what, well, it is a mind sport, and If the International Mind Sports Association can deem it as a sport, I think government really need to understand why they've deemed it as a sport. Look, here in Australia, we never inherited Texas Hold'em, the game of that we love playing, the global game of poker. But it got vacuumed into the casino world because of cards and chips. You take tournament poker out of casino environment, it's like what we did with our charity events, with All In for Charity and Poker with the Stars. You see it's a great way to network, team building, we're playing for prizes. Now, if tournaments today were played in sporting venues and there was a sponsor associated to that and we had the best 100-odd players competing, similar to golf, and they were playing just for a prize pool and there was no tournament entry fee, where's the gambling?
Yeah.
No gambling.
Wow. So do you see that as a possibility happening in the future?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Especially if it becomes a TV product.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
We've been working on that. And I know that there'd definitely be interest because poker in general has got its own audience. There's close to 300 to 400 million people around the world that play tournament poker, and poker in general. I just think it's a shame that it's been swept under the carpet, a bit like how UFC was.
Yeah.
The blood sport that it was played in basements. There were, underground betting, but, look where it is now.
Yeah.
They're in sporting stadiums. The company's worth billions of dollars now.
Yeah, it's a good comparison because it's like probably people don't realise or the public don't realise how good a sport is until it hits either like mainstream. And you're right, UFC and people always fighting in basements and whatever for how long, a long time. But yeah, there'd be a cool fantasy to see someone like a function room at Marvel or the MCG and you've got, a couple thousand players, all completely free entry but with a sponsored first prize or something.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Jackson, I can see it really happening. And I know it was your dad's dream for that to happen as well. I used to remember you'd say, they say horse racing, poker, playing the pokies, or sports betting was all gambling. But yet the government's, the Gaming Commission's eyes on poker as a gambling product, but yet, at least they allow us to play live.
Yeah.
The online part of it, there's different reasons as to why, but we're working ways with the Gaming Commissioner at the moment with our lawyers to try and at least get that players can play online to qualify into live events.
Awesome.
Again, it's another challenge, but look, if we didn't have these challenges, life would be so easy.
Yeah, and nothing that is, a very achievable or a high goal never comes easy. So good luck for it, Hash.
Thanks, Jackson.
Where did your first love for poker come?
Growing up in our household, we played different variations of the game, from playing Manila, different type of poker games, stud, and other forms of
So
card games.
Always playing cards.
Yeah,
with your
always
family
playing
and-
cards with family.
Yep.
But as far as poker, I'm just trying to think. 1999 in Joe's garage.
Yep.
He had he put on the best barbecues, by the way. But he brought up a game to us with the whole deck. Now, we're used to playing with 7 cards up. That was Manila. We'd play 2 cards, 3 card, 4 card. On the 4th street, we throw a card out. That's what we were used to, a bit like PLO,
Yeah.
but with 7 cards.
Okay.
So, sorry, 7s and up.
Yeah.
So pretty much half the deck. So Joe introduces us to Texas Hold'em, played a couple of orbits. We go, no, let's get back to Manila. So Joe goes, mate, one day you guys are going to love this game. I promise you, you're going to love this game. Yeah, Joe, whatever.
Yeah.
So next barbecue, he tried it again.
Yep.
By the 4th or 5th time, he took us to Crown Casino and we were playing Limit Hold'em. And then he put us into a tournament. Now, back then, it was only $175.
Wow.
That was half my wage back then,
Yeah.
right? Or a third. And I did really well. And so did a few of the other boys. Now, Van Marcus at the time was my teacher, who's teaching me how to play limit hold'em. And he goes, whatever you do, don't go all in when you see ace king or pocket aces. Just time it. And what does this banana do? Goes all in with pocket kings, right? And lucky enough, the kings held up and I won. I said, how easy is this? So that's where my love for tournament poker began. Joe introduced me to it. And funny enough, the week or two leading into when we went to the World Series, Joe and I made a final table at Crown in 2005. And believe it or not, Joe knocked me out.
No way.
It was my second tournament that I actually played in because after the first one, I didn't really play many tournaments because Crown didn't have them on.
Yep.
But we're playing a lot of limit hold'em. So when these tournaments came about, mate, we all
drop everything.
Drop everything.
Yep.
We all played. So when Joe knocked me out, I'm going, but you're my brother. He knocked me out.
Yeah.
You're such a banana, right? Anyway, 2 weeks later, he wins the World Series.
Yeah, and I find that such a good story because for people that don't know, your brother Joe is the only Australian ever to win the World Series. And that World Series it's a series of poker tournaments, but it's like the Boxing Day test in cricket terms, the Ashes, or in AFL terms, it's the grand final. If you win the main event in the World Series, you're recognised all around the world at every poker room, and people will always call you the champ and your brother. And when we've all watched videos of it, we can see you, Aussie, 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 oi, 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 as loud as ever, the most supportive brother ever. But take me back to that experience because, it's been over 20 years since that happened, but it's still every July, June, clips get sent from it. I know when I'm playing and I see 3-7, I instantly think of your brother, like winning the main event. So what was that like going into
It was a roller coaster. Look, Joe might have won the World Series. I say this to everybody.
Yeah.
I celebrated as if I won. And we were in Vegas at the time. And they say that, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Now it went on social media.
Yeah.
But look, we've never been outside of Australia since we migrated to Australia in 72. So, when Joe's friend Imad won a package to the Aussie Millions, through the Aussie Millions and into the World Series, Joe decided he wanted to go. So he asked Jeannie while he was in Queensland for memory, and Jeannie said yes. Joe booked his tickets before Jeannie changed her mind, which she did. Joe will tell you that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jeannie ended up telling him, it's your time, honey, you should go. So he did, and younger brother Tony thought, great opportunity to go. Vegas. Yeah. I've heard so much about Vegas. Very little about the World Series of Poker. I had no idea, Jackson. And obviously asked Joe, is it okay if I can come along? So I dragged my cousin Billy. We went. And the first time walking into the Rio Casino, hearing the chips.
Yep.
And it wasn't just one room. It was like 4 different rooms, and all you hear is chips and people walking past. I caught this bad beat, the American accents, I caught this bad beat, this young kid, and it was like a dream, I walked into a maze. And, Joe plays his first tournament, runs deep, makes the final table, wins about 70-odd thousand US. Now, at the time, I was looking at buying half of Joe's action. Now, everybody thought that I bought half of Joe into the World Series. That's not true. The truth of it, Joe went and put 10,000 US and bought in. Now, for someone that's got a $300,000 mortgage back then, that's huge. And look, he just won $70-odd thousand. It was his passion. Go knock yourself out, right? Yep. Day 1, day 2, day 3, and we're thinking, wow. Joe goes, you guys aren't going to support me. Well, I'm like, support you doing what, Joe? We're in Vegas. We're having fun, right? And he goes, mate, I'm running deep in the World Series. Come support. So halfway through day 3, we show up. Joe's in the top 100 in chips. And it was like, 700 people left or close to
Yeah.
it. Day 3 gets through. Day 4 gets through. Day 5 gets through. Makes the money. We're all high-fiving each other
Wow.
now.
So it took
Jackson,
6 days to get just into the money first.
it took 5 days.
5 days.
Close to 5 days back then. And they used to play a bit differently. You started with 10,000 in chips and you played to a certain number of players.
Ah, okay.
It wasn't
So you
levels.
could be playing till 3 a.m.
At 3 a.m.,
Yep.
2 a.m., and it was because it was boring. It's like watching paint.
Yeah.
If you're not watching it
It's very deep. And
with not watching it live. Back then there was no live streaming, so watching it, like you're
behind the
watching
rail.
behind
Yeah.
the rail. It's like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
To be honest. So if you know me, the people that know me, I've got a bit of ADHD, whatever you call
Yep.
it. And so we thought, what song can we sing every time he wins a hand? We thought, come on, Aussies, come on,
Yeah.
come on. The World Series of Cricket, That's what I wanted to sing. But Brian Hull, that was with me, he goes, no, we'll do what we do in the tennis. Wins a point. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian, you kick that off and we'll follow through. And credit to Brian Hull. Every time Joe, even if it was the antis, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi,
Yeah.
oi, oi. We pretty much, I must admit, we were the originators of entertainment because prior to that year, there was really no one in the crowd that would do what we did. So
Make noise,
support, sing, yell,
Yep.
And to the Americans, it was like they found it, wow.
Well,
these
they
Aussies-
would have been like, oh, I want to do
wow,
that.
I wanna
They're
do
very
that.
patriotic. And
So all of a sudden, the Italians started doing it, the Spanish, the Brazilian players,
Yep.
the Americans. So come day 7, I think it was, we're down to 27 players, and they had to play down to the final table. And we had to go from Rio to Binions. Now, Binions was closing down. It was the last time that the World Series of Poker, they were going to crown a champion.
Yep.
So Joe's got a bit of history now, legacy in the fact that he was the last person to win a World Series at Binions.
Yep.
And this is where all hit home, where we knew if he made the final table, he's guaranteed $1 million. Now, being a younger brother, I knew how much that meant to him. I knew very little about the World Series of Poker. I didn't even know. I was going for a holiday. It's Vegas. I was single, cousin Billy, family, my brother Joe, and he deserved it. He deserved everything that came to him, the success, because not many people know about Joe's story. Joe was a chiropractor before he became a mortgage broker and then mortgage broker playing online poker, right? And he had a blood disorder in his hands, hence why it's funny how life works. And he got dealt a really bad hand, so to speak. So he had to close down his 3 chiropractic practices, got into mortgage broking, playing online. All of a sudden, mate wins, goes to the World Series, is on the final table.
Yeah.
He's pinching himself. He's emotional. We're all emotional. What the heck? What's going on here? Now, Joe goes, look, the job's not done yet. I've got a bracelet to win. And I'm going, Joe, but $1 million, Hash.
Yeah.
He goes, wait, the bracelet.
Yeah.
Now, the focus went from making the money, then
Coming first.
to making the FT, making the final table. Now his goal, his eyes was on the bracelet. Now, that last day took 16 hours of play. You talked about, playing for 12 hours, the endurance, the patience. You can't be dumb and play this game, Jackson. Tiger Woods says it. A lot of people that have played this game, friends of ours, mutual friends, including the great, your dad, the great man. I just recall Joe going down the escalators. There was 5 left. Hey, Joe, a reporter, mic in his mouth, going, Joe, underneath, Joe, what's it like winning $1 million? You know, Joe goes, I'm not even thinking about that, mate. It's about the bracelet, you know, and it was on ESPN. And I go, but Joe, you've won $1 million. Why did you say that? He goes, you don't think about the money. Yeah. The minute you count your cards, you count your chips. It's like, you know, Kenny Rogers' song, never count your money on your chips on the table. So, look, it was surreal, the atmosphere. You know, the very first hand of the final table with Mike Mattisau versus Scotty Lazar, Kings versus Aces. Mike Mattisau flops the king and he's jumping for joy. Yes, it's my time. And then Scotty Lazar had pocket aces with the ace of heart. There was 2 hearts on the turn, hearts on the river, and they had to peel Mattisau off the ground. Yeah. You know, he's probably still in the coma in some hospital in Vegas. But, you know, there was a particular hand that Joe was frustrated because he was card dead, Queen 7 of diamonds. Yeah, and I thought, and he was behind. Cantiac called with pocket 9s. And I've never really mentioned this story, but like a man of faith, prayed to my brother Eli that passed away, and asked him to, mate, all that Joe's done for you, Banana, please let him flop a queen. By then, I started to know a lot more about, you know, Texas Hold'em and poker. Yeah, come on, Eli, you can do this. You can do this. Come on, we got this. Come on. And I swear to you, Jackson, if you look at the highlights,
Queen on the
window card queen, and I just knew who won the hand. And from then on, I'm about to get teary. But from that hand on, and that was it. Yeah. That was even
destiny.
And even the very last hand, Joe had Denneman covered, and he couldn't lose. All he could do is draw, and he still said, "Wait, one card to come." And we know that card that it could. Yeah, and then you got to start again.
Yep, you split the
pot, and start again, and anything can happen. Yeah. But luckily for Joe, it didn't. And funny enough, Dujon was wearing the Australian flag. I needed to find a flag. I said, Dujon, give me your flag. He goes, no, I can't. I go, Dujon, give me the flag. We need it. And he goes, please, Tony, Hash, no, I can't. And a lady next to me wearing an Australian tracksuit top says, no, I got one in my bag. I go, really? Oh, yeah. And she gave it to me. She goes, I just felt it. My husband and I knew Joe was going to win. And I go, really? And funny enough, the lady was Asian, wearing an Australian flag. I wouldn't have picked it. Yeah. And gave her a big hug, got the flag, of course. And when Joe won the World Series, when he won it, the Aussie went nuts. We went nuts. We waved the flag. I remember picking Joe up, putting him on my shoulders. We said, we love you, America. Show me the money.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, Hash, because it seems like everything after that was just, we use the word destiny, because to see Joe after that and to see you became player of the year one of the years. Joe won was it a 5-diamond tournament too? Yeah. Playing in all the high-stakes cash games. You really, when you came back to Australia, made people in Australia talk about poker. And is that when you first met Dad, just after Joe had won it? Because I remember your first home game, I came to it, was it out in like Templestowe or
that was Joe's house. That was Joe's house.
And was that the first time Dad had came over and met you guys for a home game?
And we had a swim, barbecue. Yeah. You and your sisters came along. Yeah, it was I met your dad just before. I met him in 2000, I think either 3 or 4. Just hello, just gentleman. Yeah, but he was a gentleman. Yeah, no problem. Yep.
Yeah.
And then after Joe won the World Series, I guess I got to meet everybody, you know. And look, you talk about destiny. I mean, in America, I was only Joe's brother, and I got treated like as if I won the World Series. The Americans, a little bit different with celebrities there. They embrace them. Here we love the underdog, and yeah, the Australian public just went nuts. And I still remember meeting a lot of good friends who we mutual friends till today. Chris Jones, Luke Tunnicliffe, they were working at Channel 9. And I remember the Footy Show wanted Joe on the show. You got Rose McManus, they wanted Joe on that, and they were going to pay him. I said, Joe, just go to the Footy Show. And from there we met Bakes, Campbell Brown, Fev, and
Everybody.
and we're all still mates till today.
Yep.
You know, but your dad I met in a celebrity event in 2025.
Yep.
And that's when things kicked off.
You mean 2005?
Sorry, 2005, sorry.
Yep.
That's right. At Crown. And I met him a few times after that because your dad he loved the game. We didn't even realise that, you know, he had played in tournaments, and then one thing led to the other, and yeah, we just kicked it off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because I know, like, after Dad finished cricket, his two biggest hobbies were poker and golf. And it's a funny, like, how when you were getting into poker, it was through your friends and family in Joe's garage, playing all the different games.
Correct.
How I got into it was playing with Dad, like, around at just home, just us. Like, it's always those intimate environments that you start learning. But one of the coolest things for me, my whole life, was just coming, you know, downstairs on a school night and seeing you and your brother and Dad and all the boys we just mentioned, and just like seeing how happy all of you were, how laughing, the loud music. It was not even about the banter. It was not even about the poker. It was just genuinely the conversations and the stories and everybody getting together. And I feel like that's what I love the most about poker. Like the long tournaments and traveling, like that's great. But to be able to, especially when we come back to Melbourne, all catch up as mates, like that's a really, really cool part of poker.
We also had a special bond, and we all loved each other's company. We had fun. The people that didn't know Warne, he wasn't just a cricketer. He wasn't just a poker player. What we fell in love with Shane was he loved his kids. He loved his family. And look, for us, family's everything. My mum raised three boys. We lost my middle brother, Eli, God rest his soul. Joe got married. He's got four beautiful kids, gorgeous wife in Jeannie, who's my best friend. My wife, Jess. I've got three beautiful kids. And I learnt a lot from your dad. You know, people may look at him and, you know, people are always going to make their own assumptions. But until you know somebody, you don't know them.
Yeah.
Your dad was a class above as a dad, amazing as a friend. He'd jump in the trenches. And I still remember when I asked him to be godfather of my little daughter, Emily Jean, and he told me he was honoured. And I'm like, what? I'm honoured that he said yes. And then, you know, it was a special moment that we had, but we had a lot of special moments. Your dad, we just loved, like it was, I don't think in the 20-odd years that I knew him, not even a boo. It wasn't like, you know, misunderstanding or, you know, like some of the bad beats he used to cop and the faces he used to pull. You know, these ones, like really, especially when Jason, his brother, would just sit on the table. He'd go on tilt, a bit like Joe and I. But
yeah, no, it's so good that you've got all of those memories, and thank you always for having his back, Hash. But
always.
Yeah, thank you. There's one thing, though, that always I like to remember and reflect on is you both love giving back to the community and you love raising money for charity. One of my earliest memories of you guys playing poker is always running the All In for Charity events or the Shane Warne Foundation charity events. What was it like, 10, 15 years ago running those events, because you had footy players, singers, actresses? We don't get that kind of, what's the right word? When was the last event Dad did with the Shane Warne Foundation? I think it was 2016 or 17.
Yeah, close to that, 15, 16.
Because I remember the last one he had, like he just loved bringing all these people together. And what were those like at those events? Because to see those faces and photos,
They were high-end events where Shane did so much work. I mean, Joe had his name on it, and I'll be honest with you, Shane and I did most of the work. And Joe was great, but in order to put these events on, people need to understand that Shane leaned on a lot of good friends, good people, corporates to buy tables. And it's not easy. It's not an easy gig. The support that Crown gave your dad, especially Annie Peacock, I remember, and Natasha at Crown, they were fantastic. The donations that he made to his charity. For me, the Shane Warne charity, along with Save Our Sons, the two charities that I think, and of late, Equal for Access for Autism, I hold them close to my heart. Shane was proud of the work that he did at the Shane Warne Foundation. He wouldn't sleep unless he donated that money to the
sick and underprivileged
kids. I remember him getting emotional at one time because I want to do more. We got to do more. H, we got to do more. It's not enough. Okay, we will all in good time, But that's Shane for you. He goes, no, mate, no, we got to do more. Okay, Shane, you've done a lot. You've raised nearly $8 million in such a short period. You've done it all on your own, pretty much. He goes, no, I've had support. I haven't done it on my own. I've done support.
Yeah.
You know what it's like. And, even with our All In for Charity and Poker with the Stars events, front and center. And as you know, we've always paid tribute to him at our series. Even with APT we have. We feel in spirit he's always there with us, and, he was a great supporter for me. And I look at ways of looking at you, Jackson, and coming on board with APT. I know we haven't officially announced it, but we're honoured to have you on board as an ambassador for APT. And we're looking forward to doing some really exciting things, and getting tournament poker, one, to be deemed as a sport, but to get it on TV and to showcase what tournament poker is all about and all the fun that we've had.
Yeah.
And we want to share that with the outside world.
Yeah, and I think that's what the next goal is, especially for the APT, because if Dad was here, he'd be doing the exact same thing. He'd be like, we need to get more people playing poker. It's fun. We need to make people think it's not necessarily gambling. If we can get it on TV, that's more eyeballs and more people playing. We
can educate them.
We can educate them.
Or re-educate.
Yep, because he just, especially like you, just loved giving back. Always wanted to help.
No, thanks, Jackson. And I think when people realise the same skill sets used in life, business, profession, and sport, you bring those skill sets to a tournament game of poker, and the thing they've got in common is that it's all about survival.
Yeah.
You got to survive.
And I think that's why so many athletes love poker. Like you see all around the world, athletes in their downtime, they're always playing with their friends. They're getting invited to play in these big tournaments because there's something about that competitiveness that they still, and that hunger, that at the poker table they get to have.
No different to golf.
No different to golf, any other sport. So, and congrats on the purchase of the APT2 hash. How did all that happen? Because I remember being there at the very start of 2022, just before Dad had passed, when you were thinking about doing something like that. I remember being there on that table. Well,
let the truth be said, it was your dad that really wanted us to buy APT. He said, Hash, we should buy APT, the Australian Poker Tour. Okay, yeah, but I'm working on sports poker tour though, Shane. And he says, no, you don't understand, Hash. I go, what do you mean? He goes, it's Australian poker tour.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm
Yep.
going, I think you're right, Warnalinko. Wow. He
And-
goes, and then he goes, that's something that we can, build it strong and, and have fun doing it.
Yeah. And I remember in the year before that, in 2021, I think me and Dad either went to 2 or 3 of the APT series, but that was probably the most fun me and Dad have had together in such a long time, being able to travel all around Australia, just us driving from Melbourne to Queensland or to Sydney or wherever it was, and to be playing poker together. And everyone was very nice at APT. If me and Dad were on the same table, they would move us, or if we wanted to be next to each other or close together, they'd make it work. But yeah, they were just some of the funnest memories ever. And I've always said on this podcast too, like some of my happiest memories with Dad are on the poker table. Like they just are. And I want people to be able to have those experiences as well.
I'm with you, mate. I found
Do you have a funny standout memory of you and Dad playing poker?
it was at the World Series.
Yep.
So I've sat down. I see him coming my way. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. He goes, no. No. And ends up sitting right next to me.
Oh.
But we're talking about 10,000 players plus
Yeah.
players, and he finds me on the same seat.
Oh.
And I've got the photo to show it. And it was okay, why? I swear if you raise me, I'm going to 3-bet you. He goes, you're a banana. I remember the banana hats that we made the first time we went to the World Series.
Yes. You
remember
banana,
that?
pass with the sugar.
Pass
all
the
of
sugar,
them.
yeah, the banana, Warnalinko.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was funny because just on the name, Warnalinko, Hashalinko, Jasalinko, it was all through the Carlton great, Alex Jasalinko, Yulti, and then, we start giving everybody names, Feverlinko, Tunalinko.
Everybody.
Even Banana Linko got a name. No, it was a lot of fun. Look,
Yeah.
they're great memories and privileged to be part of his life. And, everybody used to say to me, are you an idol? Shane, your idol in cricket? Mate, look, I love my cricket, but I must say Shane wasn't my idol.
AB?
Alan Border, Dennis Lilly, God rest his soul, Rod Marsh.
Yep.
Alan Border, for me, I'm a right-hand batsman. I started batting left
Yeah.
because of AB. And when he took me to the AB medal night and I saw Alan Border, I was like a kid. Like I turned into a little kid.
Mm.
AB, AB. He
Yeah.
goes, Hash, it's like, get your hands off him. You can let go now. Because I
Yeah.
hugged him
Yep.
and ended up taking a selfie and photos and that. And Alan Border was funny. He goes, geez, you did follow us. You followed because I said, mate, I could name you the side. I could name the West Indies side back then. That's all I did.
Wow.
Back then it was cricket in summer and footy in winter. And they were the good old days. They were the golden eras of cricket and football. Look, blessed to be his mate, and I know the boys. I talk on behalf of most of the boys. It was, and I've got to give you and your sisters credit with the way you guys have handled yourselves post your dad's passing. It's a credit to your mum. She's raised you well, your dad as well. I know your grandma, God bless her. She's amazing human. Your granddad, they were there for your kids. I still remember it. Just an absolute beautiful family, mate. And
Thank you,
and
Hashlinko.
even Jason, the banana, and his kids too. But your dad was a good friend and an amazing dad. And that's why we loved him.
Thank
Not
you,
because of his
Hashlinko.
cricket or his poker,
Yeah.
because he was a family man.
Yeah, well, thank you, Hash. And that's what's been so nice with this podcast, especially hearing exactly how you just spoke about Dad. It's what all of them are saying. They've got the same things in common. Family man, helping them, making them laugh. And I think that's what most people will be sad that they don't get to see. And I know I've mentioned it a lot of times, but I always tell people to go back and watch the State Memorial because, yes, it was a sad service, but you get to hear what Dad was really like from all different walks of life, from all different people. So, yeah, we miss him lots. Do you feel it when you come here, though? Because where we are, I've told people it's, Dad's old warehouse, or we've got his office right there. I've tried to keep it a good balance of his book and Hole-in-One at Augusta,
You've done a great
his
job.
baggy green. Like, can you feel him in here? Because I
Of
still feel
course.
him all
I
the
mean,
time.
look, I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional.
Yeah.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, and look, for where I put my brother Eli's photo and my mum's, and in our office area at home with Mother Mary and Jesus and the cross, I've got your dad's picture there.
Yeah.
He was a spiritual man, but for us, he was my brother. He was my brother, and I loved him, mate. He did so much for me just out of his goodness of his heart. It's not like we're just good mates, and do anything for him, and he knew that.
Yeah.
He'd do anything for me too. So if there's such a word of privileged or honor or all the above, miss him. We miss him.
Yeah. Well, Hash, thank you so much for opening up and being so honest about Dad. In a selfish way, it's always nice hearing these stories, and I find it's a good way to keep his memory alive, and especially through poker and what we're doing with the APT. So firstly, thank you for having me on board. I know we haven't officially announced it, but when the time is right, we will do so. But always happy to be representing. I'll be wearing it in Vegas as well when I'm there for the WSOP. So thank you for having me on board. Good luck with all of the future series, and I'll be there with bells on. And we should probably tell people at the next series, when it will be in Melbourne, about the Flipper event.
Yes. Well, the Melbourne event will be from the 3rd to the 14th of September. Venue is at Crown Plaza at this stage, but it could change. So because it's Melbourne Carlton, it's being renovated. So we'll find out in the next coming weeks whether the venue will change. And we've got a contingency plan, and I actually prefer the contingency plan. But the Flipper is going to be an exciting event. It's a $2,300 buy-in, 23 seconds to act, 23,000 chips starting stack. It's if you play with 2-3, there's prizes to be won only if you win the hand.
Yeah.
And those prizes, obviously, it'll be cricket based, of course. And the trophy, we're going to make a trophy that represents the great man. But we're looking forward to really giving that a big push, having you behind it, and getting everybody out there behind the Australian Poker Tour. We've got lessons through our other ambassadors, both Lachlan Crilly and Nathaniel, and obviously Joe, Daniel, and Anthony. Anyone that wants to learn how to play Texas Hold'em, come along. It's going to be exciting events. We get close to a turnover of 7,000 to 8,000 players in the series. Prize pools of up to $2 to $4 million, depending. But it's going on nicely.
Oh, well done, Hashlinko.
Thank you.
Good luck, and I'll see you at the next series.
Thanks, mate.
No
Thanks,
worries.
Jackson.
Thank you for coming on.